Do you like manga? Are you curious which manga I like? Well, you're in the right place. Hi guys, welcome back, bienvenue and all that jazz. It's time to talk about some books, or things shaped like books. It walks like a book, it talks like a book, but it has many more pictures than a book. So I'm going to talk today about my 5 favorite manga series that I've read. If you don't know, manga is basically just the word that's used when we're talking about comic books that have come specifically from Japan or Japanese authors. And within manga, there are different subgenres and different kind of categories. And you can find all of your traditional genres within it. You can find contemporary manga, romance manga, fantasy manga, sci-fi, all of it. And so obviously, since I tend to be much more fantasy leaning, these will all be mainly fantasy with one that's a little bit more on the sci-fi edge. And specifically with my time reading manga, I used to read a ton of manga in junior high and high school. I used to go down to the local Borders, not that I'm aging myself or anything, and I would pick up manga with my friends. So a lot of the manga that I've read, I'm sure are older, probably much less talked about. I have not read the ones that are like the current trends on the YouTubes. I haven't read Berserk. I haven't read One Piece. One Piece I kind of avoid because the art style is not my favorite. It's a little bit ugly, but I've been kind of curious to dabble. I don't know, undecided. But the reason I'm making this video, one, is of course to just chat about some of my faves, and two, because I'm really curious to dip a toe back into the manga pool, and I'm curious what manga you guys would recommend if you also enjoy this format of storytelling. So let's just dive straight into my faves. So the first one I want to talk about is the only one that I don't own any physical copies of, and that is Sailor Moon. Shocking absolutely nobody. If you've been paying attention to the wardrobe, I tend to have my nerd shirts on display. Today is Ursula, but usually I have a Sailor Moon or Avatar: The Last Airbender, or I kind of swap around different fandom type shirts, and Sailor Moon is one of my all-time faves. I love the manga. I love the anime. I just love it all. If somehow you have been living under a rock and you don't know what Sailor Moon is, it is the story of Usagi and her close friends, which are Sailor Guardians, and they basically have this transformation, their clothes change, and they have access to these special abilities that they use to protect the Earth and our particular galaxy from outside space threats. And so we have Sailor Moon, Sailor Mars, Sailor Venus, Sailor Jupiter, and Sailor Mercury. Those are like the 5 core scouts. And then there are Sailor Scouts of the outer planets. So we have Sailor Uranus, Sailor Pluto, Sailor Neptune, and Sailor Saturn. Saturn, Neptune, and Pluto are my all-time faves. But there's basically 5 different arcs that focus on 5 different galactic threats and how these girls balance being junior high school students and falling in love and some access to their past lives, and they balance that with trying to protect the universe and the pressures of that, and things don't always go great for them, and it's just, it will forever and always be one of my favorites. Then, sticking with just kind of like the magical schoolgirl theme, one of my other faves is Cardcaptor Sakura. So this is another schoolgirl type thing. I think she's more in the elementary school age, and one day she finds this book with these magic cards inside and accidentally releases them on Tokyo. And so it starts with her using this magic staff to gain power over those cards so that she can access their magic. It's wonderful. It's everything. There is one of her friends likes to make all her outfits, so she always has these cute like little outfits that she wears when she goes to catch the cards. And it's just adorable, wholesome, love it. There's an awesome little animal companion, which you can see here, little Kiraberos. And I got into this after getting into there was a like anime adaptation that used to come out on Saturday mornings, Saturday morning cartoons. It was called Cardcaptors, and it was just one of my favorites and will always be. If you like magic, if you like animal companions, if you like things less focused on romance and just more focused on like just fun adventures, then I couldn't recommend Cardcaptor Sakura more highly. Then Cardcaptor Sakura is by the manga collective, I think is what they like to call themselves. It's a group of, I don't remember if it's 4 or 5 women, and they have made many, many different manga series over the years, one of which was Cardcaptor Sakura, and another one of theirs that I love is Chobits. So I will preface Chobits saying there is an element to it that is like really kind of like, that was a choice. So Chobits is this kind of sci-fi futuristic world where people have these things called persocoms or personal computers. And they have advanced to the stage where these persocoms are basically little androids that help you with daily things. And so in this world, we have our main character Hideki, who is trying to get into university and has always wanted a persocom but has not been able to afford one. And one day he finds a powered down persocom in the trash and takes her home. So the pervy part is her on button, like to turn on the android, like literally like power her up, is her hoo-ha. And I know, but also like if you can get past that, like the rest of the story is so fun. It basically delves into like kind of traditional sci-fi themes of what does it mean for humans and robots, and is there some kind of connection or relationship that can be formed there. This android in particular is named Chi because when she first gets powered up, that is the one and only word she knows how to say. However, we come to find that she is more special than we once thought, and we're trying to figure out who she is, what she is, where she came from, and it just kind of expands from there and turns into this pretty awesome sci-fi story. And so if you like that kind of sci-fi element and kind of exploring some of those themes about relationships with robots or any of that kind of stuff, then Chobits is where it's at. Then we'll dive into one that I have because of the husband. So back in the day when the husband and I first started dating, he got me into this massively multiplayer online role-playing game known as Ragnarok Online, which is the most adorable chibi sprite-based video game ever. It still exists. It's still free to play. You can go check it out. But there was a manga adaptation that was made of some of the story elements of that game. So this is the manga adaptation of Ragnarok. And so this is one of those things that I just have so much love for. It's very Norse mythology inspired. Obviously, Ragnarok is the Norse end of the world, so it's gonna be centered around Ragnarok. But this is where we start to see like the sadder side of manga. So manga is even harsher with cutting things mid-run than even something like Netflix. At least with Netflix, you get your full season before they chop you. For manga, they can stop you basically whenever. So for Ragnarok, it only got up to volume 10 before they cut it. But the 10 volumes are precious and I love them so much. And they do a much better of selling themselves than I do, so let's just read the back. The winds of fate are blowing through the realm of Midgard. Ragnarok, the prophesied fall of the gods, is at hand, and the age of man is set to begin. But the ancient gods are not about to resign themselves to fate. They have sent their elite warriors, the Valkyries, to scour the land for those destined to bring about Ragnarok. If the event can be prevented, the reign of the gods will continue for another 1,000 years. Fenrir knows Ragnarok must happen. She's on a desperate search to find the reincarnation of Baldur, the fallen god, with whose help she can change the world. But if the Valkyries find him first, Fenris's quest may be over before it even begins. So we're out trying to stop Ragnarok. I mean, what more do you want? It's just fun, good times, adventures. Would recommend. Then, the final one that I'm going to talk about, I think is one of the first manga that I ever got super into, and so that is Rebirth. So Rebirth is at its core, it's that classic revenge tale. Within the first, 2 pages, the love of our main boy, Deshwatat, which is this vampire shown on the cover here, gets murdered by this mage known as Kalutika Mavis. I mean, the names are pretty fun, right? Oh, Kalutika, Deshwatat. They're just fun, but I got sidetracked. But, so the main crux of this story is Deshwatat wants revenge on Kalutika for murdering his, I don't remember if she's his wife or his girlfriend or what. And so he hunts down Kalutika, but there is a time jump because Kalutika does something to Deshwatat to kind of imprison him for many, many years. And so Deshwatat emerges later and we start trying to hunt down Kalutika and see what he's been up to since the start of this book. I will say that this is one of those things where Tokyopop, the people who were publishing this in the US, stopped publishing the physical versions somewhere along the line, I don't remember, it's after volume like 20 or something, but you can find them for free online, so you can always continue reading the story. That's how I continued it, but just know that going in that you may need to resort to that. And this is one of those series that's very quintessential, like, anime or manga, with like all of the attacks are super over the top and have like super cool names. So for example, here's one of Deshwatat's attacks called Demon's Baptism, and you can see it's just ridiculous and awesome. And so if you like that kind of revenge story, this is a great one to check out. But like I said, I haven't been reading manga in a very long time. Like, most of the ones that I own are probably from the early 2000s, like 2010, probably at the latest. So if you have any recommendations that I should 100% check out, please let me know in the comments down below. And also, I have watched quite a bit of anime in my time. And so if you want me to make another video like this, but instead talking about my favorite animes, please let me know. I'd be happy to do so and chat with you guys about anime, even though I am a heathen and I do tend to prefer dubbed over subbed. Don't at me about it. But I'd be happy to talk about the anime series that I love to watch. If you like this video, please give it a like. If you want to see more bookish or fantasy adjacent content from me, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Other than that, I'll talk to you guys again soon, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye!